Hello, my name is Roger Shaw. Recently, I was asked by a machinery sales rep to try to put together a video covering all the different names and brands and of software. He says there's so much stuff out there that I get really confused as to when they call out a name. I'm not sure exactly what that software does, and I'm hearing new names and stuff. So what I did is I made a list of all of the key players and software brands in the woodworking industry, and I'm going to go through them and explain what they do and how they work in terms of sales and marketing and who their audience is. There is no one software that does everything. So when you think about from estimating, point of sale, all the way through to shipping, making labels, making machine code, optimization, nesting. So there's so many different brands, and it all starts with the design. So you'll find that 2020 is a design product that has evolved, and that's where when you go into Lowe's or Home Depot and you go into some design centers for kitchens, they'll be using 2020, and 2020 has done a great job of capturing these guys because they use multiple catalogs from big box manufacturers, and that 2020 became the common denominator. So if you were selling three different lines of boxes for kitchens, they would use a 2020 catalog or data set to sell with. So 2020 hosts all the different catalog sets from all of the big box manufacturers. So it's evolved, and it's kind of got a captive audience. Now, 2020 has also evolved. They had an investment group put some money into it, and they came out with other technologies too, which include an ERP system or a semi ERP system, and some AutoCAD based design and engineering products. But 2020 basically is, when you hear this, that's the design program that's being used in Lowe's and Home Depot. So now it does not make a cut list. It does not make manufacturing information. Okay, so moving on. I'm sure everyone is seeing Cabinet Vision. This is the dominant player in North America and very strong globally. Cabinet Vision bought out Cabinetware, but there's still a lot of customers that use Cabinetware. And ultimately, Cabinet Vision is owned by a holding company, so the original players are not involved in the manufacturing of the software. Um, it's primarily there's a huge difference in Cabinet Vision and Cabinetware and KCD. These are design programs that make cut lists that download to CNC machine tools. Some of them, Cabinet Vision has its own G-code generator. KCD does not. It downloads to NRoute, which is another G-code generator. Um, so, I believe it will download to Woodwop also. So the end result is that you have to think of Cabinet Vision and KCD as data generators for the kitchen industry primarily. Cabinet Vision likes to sell into commercial areas, but they don't. Some people get it to work, but by and large, it's not an AutoCAD based product. So let's go. Let's keep moving. So I talked a little bit about Cabinetware. This is what the supplier Vero software is sending out to their users. You've had it for 30 years, or we've been in business, but we're changing it. And we're not going to support it anymore. So you'll see a lot of people out there saying, "Well, I have Cabinetware, but I'm going to change." The bottom line is it's a kitchen design program, and one of the things that you should be aware of is that in the strategy for programming on Cabinet Vision and KCD and Cabinetware, what they do is they have one product that they try to twist into many products. So it's very difficult. You don't start with from scratch with a floor panel and build up from there. You're actually starting with a box and you try to adjust that box, and it literally has been evolved in that one. It's one box that's used 100% of the time. It's just changed. It's a different strategy versus the AutoCAD applications of Microvellum and WoodCAD CAM. But try to imagine making one-of-a-kind types of products that you have to start with a box and then twist it and turn it the way you want. Let me go on to, so again, kitchen design. Then and you'll actually do a 3D picture. Sometimes you can get the 2D information out of it, but usually it's not as good as what is required by architects on architectural submittals in the commercial world. I'm going to move on. KCD is another very good product that it's out of Massachusetts, and they service their customers very well. They do great telephone support. Not many people complain about it, except it's really good for residential, but not good for commercial. And it also has its limitations. In the world of software, in the woodworking world, you have two different elements that are really important. One is configure to order, which means you've got like a catalog of products and you can bring them into the drawing and adjust them the way you want. And then the other is engineer to order. Engineer to order is when you're literally talking about starting from scratch and building something absolutely never been built before and probably will never be built again. Those products are more expensive. When you think of Cabinet Vision, when you think of Cabinetware, when you think of KCD and Mosaic, those are really good products for configure to order. They're very weak and hardly ever used to make one-of-a-kinds. Literally with Cabinet Vision, you have to be a programmer to pump out one-of-a-kind radius-shaped, heart-shaped nurses stations and things like that. So let's go back over it again. There is one more I want to show you first. Mosaic is, these are the folks that started Cabinet Vision, and they're now doing a rental program for software. So for $50, you can get a design package. For $75 a month, you can get a manufacturing package, and then for $125 a month, you can get a CNC package that you have design manufacturing. So this is actual 3D pictures. This is a cut list, and Mosaic CNC is running a machine tool. They don't have a sales team, and you have to do everything via over the internet. It's an interesting cloud technology, but making sure that all the machine tools are up and running, that they don't have the staff to go to the factory. You'll see Mosaic. It's easy to get into, and you'll see it in the startup companies. So let's go back over it. So you have the design package only, which is 2020. You have Cabinet Vision, Cabinetware, KCD, and Mosaic, which is not only design but also makes a cut list and creates data for CNC machine tools. All of those products do full-length face frame and frameless. So when you go beyond that, you get into AutoCAD-based products like Microvellum, and this is it gets very complicated at the Microvellum and WoodCAD CAM level, because what you're doing is you're creating data in an SQL database, and that SQL database drives AutoCAD. So, but in many cases, the difference between Microvellum and WoodCAD CAM is Microvellum depends on formulas and spreadsheets built into an SQL database. WoodCAD CAM is strictly an SQL database driving AutoCAD in a modeling. Both of these packages are designed and made for making architectural submittals all the way down to running machine tools and creating good bills of materials that can be used and leveraged. The bottom line is 100% of the time when you get into a sophisticated manufacturer, the software that generates the data that's going to be managed is the most important element in the factory. So you have two, so what happens with a kitchen manufacturer is they do a lot of one-offs and they do those manually. So you never really get everything. And most of the people that use Microvellum are doing a lot of stuff manually also. In the world of WoodCAD CAM, our successful customers do 100% everything in WoodCAD CAM. And it creates, because of the SQL database and the sophistication built into it, in the company's called EMOS that generates the data, that SQL database is the most accurate and dependable database out there. So the customers that use it are pretty happy, and they depend on that data. So you've got kitchen programs, and then you've got commercial programs, and of course the commercial programs can go back and do kitchens also. Usually they're used in very, very high end. So if you're walking into a shop that's not with limited amount of employees, less than 7 or 8, and they do kitchens, this is probably not the solution. Could be, but it's probably not. If you're walking into a situation where they're saying, hey, I do residential, but my customers, I'm building for $1 million houses, and I've got CNC equipment, this is a great solution for that. Okay, so everything I've talked about so far has been focused on design engineering and generating a cut list and generating G codes. So those are the front end packages. Only 2020 does design. Cabinet Vision, Cabinetware, KCD, Mosaic, they all do design and cut lists. Microvellum and WoodCAD CAM, they do. They're based on AutoCAD. They're linked to an SQL database that drives the AutoCAD. They both work in solid modeling. One uses formulas heavily, that's Microvellum, and one does not use formulas and depends more on the actual software to make the accurate cut lists. So that's the design and engineering cut list drafting tools. Now you'll hear these other names out there that are not full. They basically take data from the design products, or you can make parts in the products. So you have AlphaCam, RouterSim, MasterCam, CAD Code, Woodwop, CutRight, and a new one out called Blue Cell. So RouterSim, this basically is a very, very prestigious company. It's like the Neiman Marcus of G code generation. They've been in business for a long, long time, established themselves with very large companies as well as small companies, and they're very good and deliver a great product. SimTech can run every machine tool out there, both point-to-points and routers. And it also, they give very good customer service, and they have other products also that do things that are unique and in need. There's a thing called, let's see, let me get it. SolidSim 3D. It has an analysis program that you can analyze a solid modeling design in made up of like a thing I'm going to get to later called Inventor or SolidWorks, and it can analyze the design and make a cut list from it and make G code from those cut lists. So it's a pretty unique and very powerful program. So the one that sold the most in the woodworking industry is probably AlphaCam. Most of you are familiar with AlphaCam. A lot of people sell machine tool and AlphaCam. The positive side is that person that has that AlphaCam and a machine tool, he can now make parts. The downside is those parts are not electronically married to each other. It's just one part at a time. So you literally, if you're just drawing the part and manufacturing it, or you're drawing multiple parts and nesting them, here's yes, you've got parts, but you have no way of verifying that they actually fit together. So without a front end product to this, it's problematic, but it will make the machine tool run and make sawdust and enable you to complete the path of the sale and installation. AlphaCam is based out of England. They're also owned by the same company that owns Cabinet Vision. There's another one out I think they're from New England. It's called Mastercam. They're more into metal fabrication, but very good product, good company, been around a long time, and they also do 5-axis work. They're top shelf in all industries, not just woodworking. They're not the best in woodworking as far as sales go. There's also a product called CAD Code, and this is owned by a guy named Ned Brown. And CAD Code is what they do primarily is they'll walk into a factory and make all of the machine tools, whatever they are, however old they are, and they give like custom service to the factory. Factories that are running on CAD Code are very loyal to that system. CAD Code has maybe 2 or 3 people working there, but they very smart out of Princeton, New Jersey. And you also have Woodwop. Most people are familiar with Woodwop. This is on every home ag machine. It makes it easy for the design programs to hook into home ag equipment because it's all driven by the same one, which is Woodwop. And Woodwop basically makes the code. So you get the file to Woodwop and it takes it from there. You also can download. Cutright also makes G code for CNC machine tools as well as optimization patterns for saws. Cutright was born on for the Holzma saws, but has evolved into a very good nesting product with what we call stay down technology. In other words, the router bit goes into the material and stays down and cuts the pattern, which is unique and saves a lot of money and saves a lot of tooling. So in addition to that, you've got Eurosoft. They're recently, this is a person that moved to our country from Austria. He's very smart, PhD in math, and they sold Artis, which is another optimization program, for a long time, had a falling out, and then developed their own products. And one of them is called Blue Cell for optimization. Another one is Blue Cell for nesting. So, but again, you have to have a design program in front of it, and they're very good at adapting to any design program. So, but it's typically not I mean, you can design a part, but you can't design an assembly. So I want to go back over this again. In terms of G code generation for CNC machine tools, you've got SimTech or RouterSim. It's the same product. You've got AlphaCam. Most people know what AlphaCam is, but it's basically, if you're a manufacturer and you're trying to build a product line, AlphaCam will help run the machine tools but it won't help you design and engineer the product line. It just takes the data from the design programs. So basically, if you sell a machine tool and AlphaCam, you say, okay, you're good to go. That's not really true. You got Mastercam, which is it's another AlphaCam, but it's a little bit more sophisticated, great for 5-axis work. You've got CAD code, which is more of a custom application. It's focused on what the factory needs. And you've got Styles Woodwop, which basically is the great thing about that is it's the same software for all of the HOMAG machines. And you've got Cutright, which is also a Styles product, and that does the nesting and optimization also. And the nice thing about Cutright is that with one screen, you can literally run your saws and your routers, and you can decide what goes where on that one screen, which really makes it special. There is nothing else that does that. It's a big advantage. Okay, so just going backwards and going over what we've already covered, you've got a design program called 2020. You've got a design and cut list program for kitchens, and that would be Cabinet Vision, Cabinetware, KCD, Mosaic. And you've got a design engineer cut list drafting tool that runs on top of AutoCAD, and that would be Microvellum and WoodCAD CAM. WoodCAD CAM is a German product. It's basically the world dominant player. At Ligna, their booth, you could put all the other software booths in their one booth. So they're pretty strong financially. They're very strong, and they can do what they're doing and leading the way in terms of accurate data for factories. In terms of nesting and G-code generation for routers and point-to-points, you've got RouterSim or SimTech. You got AlphaCam, Mastercam, CAD code, Woodwop, Cutright, and Blue Cell. Now, for optimization, let me get this. You also have Blue Cell for optimization. You've got Artis. And as far as the algorithms go, I'm not sure which one is the best, but I will tell you that Blue Cell, Artis, and Cutright are all very, very, very good. The thing about Cutright is that it can do both on one screen, and in addition to that, it plays into the new systems of inventory control before putting it onto the machine tools. So it's already a major player in that, and I believe Blue Cell might be too. Cutright is HOMAG. Blue Cell would be your BSE. So let's keep it going. So now we've talked about the design, we've talked about design and engineering, and we've talked about G-code generation, and we've covered optimization. So the two major brands are Artis and Cutright as far as optimization goes. Okay. So now we're going to talk about solid modeling. You'll hear from people that are doing one-offs or trade show booths or store fixtures. I use Inventor. Okay, Inventor is from Autodesk, or the maker of AutoCAD. It's a solid modeling product, and it's not connected to any type of SQL database. So if you're designing a room and you have to change the material on the room, you'd have to do this manually with Inventor. So most people are fascinated with what it can do in terms of graphics and 3D, and it is impressive. The downside is as you're drawing, you're not really creating data that's going to go all the way through to the machine tool. So there's repetition of work. A lot of people use Inventor and then they go to AutoCAD and actually draw the parts for AlphaCam, and that's a very, very time-consuming process. And so if a company has Inventor, that screams that we do very unique stuff. But it's another application to replace Inventor would be WoodCAD CAM, because it's also a solid modeling program, but the actual models are driven by the SQL database, which gives you the cut list and the G-code information to run the machine tools. So Inventor, and there's another one out there that you're probably seeing called SolidWorks. These are the two biggest players in solid modeling. And basically, if you think, what is solid modeling? Well, what that is basically it makes the computer think in terms of actual models inside of a room. So if you're sitting in your office, it could literally draw the desk that you're sitting at, and then it can slice it and dice it and give you different views of it and things like that. Sometimes it can even give you a cut list, but it doesn't do the joinery information that you need to actually go into manufacturing. So there's a lot of work downstream after you get data out of a solid modeling product. You'll see some shops that actually use a solid modeling product like Inventor or SolidWorks separate from their manufacturing software. So the concepts are generated by solid modeling products, and then that data is carried into the manufacturing engineering area, and then those guys actually make it into a reality using a product like WoodCAD CAM. So it's not unusual in larger store fixturing companies to see this being used just really kind of for a concept sale to communicate with customers. Okay. All right, now I want to talk about ERP systems. ERP, what is that? Well, ERP is it's Enterprise Resource Planner. So it's basically planning all of the resources that exist in an operation. The largest player in, well, it's kind of a toss-up, but Epicor is a key player, has a lot of installations. But understand that in ERP systems, they rely heavily on an SQL database, and that SQL database doesn't understand what a machine tool requires. It doesn't know about the data and doesn't really know about the joinery. The setup and integration and implementation of a ERP system is anywhere from 6 months to 18 months, and there's a 30% fail ratio. And the bottom line is they're going to spend between $100,000 and $300,000, and 30% of them are going to fail. And then they'll go on and buy the next ERP system. This is a very, very difficult thing. It touches everybody in the whole company, from order entry all the way down to shipping, all the way down to billing. It also has its own financials. It's pretty much the full boat in terms of data management. However, most of these have holes, and the hole is that they don't know how to run a factory. Okay, they know how to do accounting, they know how to do MRP, which is called material requirements planning. They know how to do payroll, but they do not know how to actually run the factory. So there's other products that are coming along for that. Just to give you, and these products are called MES, which is hold on, manufacturing execution systems. The two that looks to be pretty interesting in the woodworking industry, one of them is called Production Coach, and this literally takes the data from the engineering product and puts it out on the floor and enables the management team to track the job through there. Any damaged parts gets managed. It also it limits the amount of material handling in terms of it has sorting capabilities. It also manages the shipping dock in terms of where everything is stored and staged and all that. This beginning to develop a lot of clients that are extremely happy about what they can do with this. It plays into the home ag world plays into the BSE world. It doesn't seem to matter. One of the things that's really nice is that it can take data from the controllers of the machine tools, kind of like what the Industry 4.0 is talking about. So if the machine tool, or if it's new, it can have an output, digital output that this thing can pick up and use to know that when work orders pass that particular machine tool. Or you can manually scan the barcodes on the parts. But it's proven to be it's not an expensive system. It only takes 5 days to get in and run and train, as opposed to an ERP system would take you a whole lot more time. So this is for companies that are less than $20 million. When you get over $20 to $30 million, you get into some more sophisticated stuff. And one of the ones that I'm really excited about right now is a system called Controller MES that's coming from Home Ag. Right now, it's not ready to launch in the United States, but in the background, it's moving along fairly nice. It's a second generation, and it will also do everything that Production Coach will do, but it also has capabilities to study capacities, and when machine tools breaks down, it can automatically shift over. Controller MES, Cutright, Wood CAD/CAM are all being used in the long-term play, which is going to be coming after with Topia. Let me get into estimating first, then we'll get to that. There's different front-end estimating technologies. One of them is called PlanSwift. It's a pretty cheap product, and they work with TradeSoft, which is a semi MES ERP system. But the bottom line is that the big advantages of PlanSwift and on-screen takeoff, which is from OnCenter software, the big advantage is that you can actually make or extract the data from the screen to make an estimate versus having to print out a drawing and then color up the drawing to cover what you've bid. So you save on the paper. You don't have to print it unless you win it. And the other thing is it increases accuracy significantly. And the last thing is that it cuts down the amount of time, cuts it into a third. So if it takes you an hour to actually do a takeoff on a printed drawing, it'll take you 20 minutes to do it on the screen. And that's not sales talk. That's actually what customers report. There's another estimating product out there that you'll hear about called Bluebeam. Don't know that much about it, but I hear people talking about it. When you hear the word Bluebeam, think of it in terms of estimating. To finish this up, you're hearing a lot about Tapio. It's a big deal. Tapio is basically bringing the woodworking industry into Industry 4.0. And what does that mean? Well, Tapio, and there's another product from BSE called Sophia. Okay. What Tapio is it's a platform that will actually be attached to the controller, and it enables it to talk to a software product that will tell the software exactly what that machine is doing at that exact time. It also is cloud technology in that it communicates to the cloud information about the machine tool, so you become proactive in terms of maintenance of that machine tool. Those things are really great, and I'm sure that machinery sales reps can relate to that very well. Tapio has more features, but Sophia is basically the same thing. Sophia is BSE, and it's basically the same thing in terms of maintenance of machine tools. But Tapio is much more of a product that's going to be generating information for MES, generating information for ERP systems, and using the data coming out of all of the design and engineering products. So when you think about it, you've got an estimating product. In our case, we use on-screen takeoff. You've got a design and engineering product, WoodCAD CAM, and then we push that data into CutRight. CutRight figures out the optimization and the nesting, and it makes the labels that tell the path of or the route of each and every part. And then all through this, Tapio is checking and telling when these work orders are coming through if they buy that particular module. There is no option with Sophia to buy that particular module. So this Tapio is being developed in terms of not only reporting statuses on machine tools, but also reporting critical information for managing the factory in a Industry 4.0 fashion. I hope this helps. I just did it off the top of my head. I'm going to send the file out, and then I'll send you a document outlining what we covered. Thanks a lot.